What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers tonight did something that I would have never expected. A night after losing to the worst team in the NBA, they beat the Los Angeles Lakers 107-105. Lakers fans are in shambles. The tank is on hold for a game, and this was a hilarious game, Eric. Maybe the most enjoyable game of the season for some. And the Blazers end up pulling out a win the night before trade deadline night. We'll go into this game a little bit. We'll have a Twitter space for a little bit. And then we will... it'll be a little bit of a shorter stream today. Gotta finish wrapping things up for the trade deadline stream tomorrow. Let me just plug that right now. We'll be going live tomorrow morning about 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Might be slightly later than that, but sometime around there then, and we'll be covering every trade that goes down tomorrow, so hopefully you can make it. It'll be right here on the main channel. Eric, what's going on, man? What are your feelings on this game? What do you think about what went down in Moda Center tonight?
I never in a million years thought we would beat a LeBron and Anthony Davis team with Keljin Blevins hitting back-to-back threes in the fourth quarter. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. I mean, the highlight of the season, maybe. Blevins hitting back-to-back threes. His shot looked decent, too, man. It looked better than,
And then we call timeout and run him off a double screen to try and... we're fourth quarter against LeBron and AD, and we're out here running plays for Keljin Blevins coming off screens for three-pointers. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah,
and we freaking beat him, dude.
Yeah, that's what this season has become. First off, this Laker team sucks, all right? And, the Lakers are frauds, all right? They are in ninth place right now, and they could not beat this Blazers team. That's on the second night of a back-to-back. That's just comical.
Vogel.
Yeah, everything that happened tonight is comical. Do you think they're going to fire Vogel?
Yeah, he's gone.
Did they actually fire him, or?
No, he's just gone. There's no way he's surviving this. Like, even Magic Johnson is, like, all mad tonight on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offensively, they looked extremely discombobulated all game long. The Blazers had 15 steals in this game. They flew around defensively, and that's why the Blazers were able to win this game, is they had a good defensive game. I'll pull up the team stats, kind of reference the percentages and whatnot. Chris won't be doing graphics tonight. He went to the game, and as I said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream, but as far as the shooting numbers go, I mean, the Lakers shot the ball well, Eric. Believe it or not, they shot 55% from the field and 46% from three. 17 for 37 from three. And this is a Laker team that doesn't shoot the three ball well. So they shot the ball really, really well by their standards, but only got to the line 13 times and only made 6 of their free throws. And they had 21 turnovers. Man, 21 turnovers.
You have Anthony Davis, one of the best weapons in basketball, and you get him 11 shots, including only one shot in the fourth quarter, against our lineup where we only have one big man. Like, it's not like we have guys who can stop him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's just inexcusable in my mind. If I'm the Lakers, that's why Vogel's gone tonight, if I'm them. And I know it's probably not anything. It's not Vogel's fault. But, I mean, someone's got to take the fall for this, and this easiest thing to do is let your coach go. So just something's not right there. They didn't even have Westbrook to blame tonight, didn't have Melo to blame tonight, and still can't get it done.
Yeah, their offensive system, whatever you want to call it, is just like LeBron create everything, it seems like. LeBron do something, and then we'll see if we can get out and run, but LeBron, please do something.
And then when he's not in the game, it's Talen Horton-Tucker, please run the LeBron setup. And
you got him like isolating, and he can't even shoot. And he shot well today for his standards. He's 4 for 6 from three, and this is a sub 30% 3-point shooter. So, they made shots, but when you're not running things, when you're discombobulated, because it almost just looked like rat ball out there from them, that's how you end up with 21 turnovers. So when they got shots, they hit shots, but they were, not on the same page for the majority of this game. LeBron had 6. Malik Monk had 5 turnovers. Talen Horton-Tucker had 4 turnovers. Avery Bradley, 3. Anthony Davis, 2. They had 21 turnovers. That's the only reason the Blazers won this game, because the Blazers shot noticeably worse. 47% from the field, 31% from 3, 81% from the free throw line. They were 13 for 16. They took better care of the ball, 10 less turnovers. They ended up getting 15 extra shots in this game because the Lakers only had 3 offensive rebounds. The Blazers had 11. So when you look at the turnovers and the offensive rebounding battle, to beat a team that you really have no business beating, if you can manufacture 15 additional shots as well as 3 additional free throws, that's how you end up winning a game like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Blazers, I think there was a little over a minute left when we hit our first 3 of the game. I think we're 0 for 12 up to that point. But a minute left in the second quarter. So we went almost the entire first half without hitting a 3, and we're somehow hanging around. We scored 31 points with 0 threes. I think we're 0 for 11 or something from 3 in the first quarter, and we didn't hit a single 3 and still scored 31 points because they were getting out and running. And I don't know how many of you were able to watch the Blazers broadcast, but they had Chauncey mic'd up for this game.
Yeah.
And man, that was a treat to listen to him, both coach like in huddles and telling them to like run and get out. Like when you get a steal, just whoever gets the rebound, just take it and go. Man, that was music to my ears. And it sucks that we kind of ruined the tank for one night, but I love watching players play hard and run up and down the court and play with tempo and just guys coming out of their shell and doing things that they didn't think they could do, stuff like that. And, you know, guys like Dame going crazy when Blevins hits a 3. Like this is a fun night. And I'm fine with winning as long as we do it in a fun and like way where we're developing players and like they play the right way and play hard. And that's exactly what happened tonight.
Yeah, we'll look at like the tank standings and all that a little bit later, and I'll give my thoughts on that. But we have some donos to thank. Cole, $5 dono, says, impossible to tank when the sniper Blevins is out here balling. Blevins is a walking meme, and the meme struck tonight. That was really the changing part of this game, because we were down before that, and then we're up 4 after his 2 big-time threes. That was really fun to watch and unexpected. I wish he hit that third one. I would have lost my mind. I would have maybe fainted. So it was Blev time in Moda Center. So appreciate the $5 dono. Cole, shout out Pineapples, $5 dono, says, Eric wanted to play Blev time 48 minutes a game. We thought it was a joke, but now it would for sure ruin the tank if we did that. Eric had a theory. Eric's idea was, we play Blevins as if he's Dame, and Blevins is so bad that then when we actually have Dame, it'll be easier for everybody around them. Right? That was your theory, Eric?
Yeah, but I didn't think Blevins would turn into Dame and then like ruin our tank and lead us to the playoffs, which he would obviously if we ever let him go and actually let him play in this game. I was so sad when they took him out and didn't let him finish this game.
They were trying to tank. I mean, we're in tank mode, you know. That's why they took him out.
Yeah, we can't afford to have him ruin it. But then we win anyway, so you might as well have let him hit like 8 threes in the fourth quarter and just completely demoralize LeBron.
Yeah, so I was pissed when they subbed him out. But yeah, that theory doesn't work if Blevins is better than Dame, because then, or does that maybe this is finally what gets us to trade Dame?
No, it's not to trade Dame. It's that like Dame will realize we've had the piece he needs all along. It's been on this team as a two-way. No one could have imagined Olshey's vision. We thought he was wasting a roster spot these last 2 years, but we have another buried treasure in Keljin Blevins on this bench, and he's going to, instead of replacing Dame and making the game easier, having Blevins in the game with Dame will make it easier.
Well, actually, I blame Olshey because he had him on a two-way, and he should have had him on a max contract. So hopefully Joe Cronin,
we didn't have
has
the
realized.
Because we didn't have his bird rights, but now that he's been on the team 2 years, we can give him a much bigger contract.
Oh, that's what we're clearing cap space for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
I like this plan. All right, you know what? I like the Clippers trade we made now. I like all our moves at the deadline now because we are clearing cap space to sign Keljin Blevins, as Connor calls him. Thank you, Connor, for the $50 dono. That's insane, man. That's amazing. Appreciate you, bro. Keljin Blevins. Yeah, I mean, I like the moves of the deadline now because they're going to max him out. And that is, finally, we will say that we have another star next to Dame, that we are finally true contenders. And, I mean, the answer has been right in front of our noses all along, and we didn't see it, Eric. So, shame on us.
Maybe the reason he hasn't played very much is we're trying to keep his value just below max so we can maybe add one more player and just kind of just go over the top and be like the most dominant team ever, you know? So like maybe if we can get him for like 25 million instead of the max, like we might be able to sign one more player to help us win it all.
But see, that's what sucks with the injuries and, you know, I mean, like, so that's like the downside with some of the moves we pulled off at the deadline is now this team is put in a position where they have to play him. And I don't know how many minutes he played tonight. You know, like Chauncey tried to take him out before he showed too much of the bag because, you know, they don't want him.
Minutes, man.
Yeah. You know, they don't want him to get too much of the bag because they'd love to, you know, maybe get an okay player. You know, James Harden's a free agent this summer. Maybe they want him. He's okay, right? You know, but Blevins ends up playing 10 minutes tonight, and it was 10 minutes too many. He's going to get paid. 8 points in 10 minutes per 36. That's like, I don't know, like 30 points per game. He also had 3 rebounds per 36. That's like 10. So he's a 30 and 10 guy. I mean, that's truly what he is. 2 for 4 from 3. I mean, if he shot 43s in this game, he would have made 20 and he would have broke the record. You know what I mean? So we had to rein him back. I think the secret's out, though. Like, this was against the Los Angeles Lakers, so it's a big-time game, right? A big-time team. Frauds, by the way. But, you know, it's the Lakers, so a lot of eyeballs on the screen today, and now I'm sure there's multiple GMs that are going to be clamoring to sign Keljin Blevins after this performance.
I wonder how many calls Cronin's going to get right now from teams, because they still have a few hours. He doesn't count as outgoing salary in a trade. Maybe some team will offer us a first for him tonight.
That's nowhere near enough, man. Like dude, you could offer 5 firsts for Keljin Blevins.
What if it's like the Thunder's first unprotected?
I mean, like even if it's Jabari Smith
or the Magic first. What if the Magic and the Thunder wanted to split time? So like every other game he played for one of them, and we got both of their firsts. For trading Keljin tomorrow. So
they trade a first for half of Blevins?
Yes.
I mean,
half of one half of season, 1/3 of a season. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we could get 3 firsts and teams would trade a first for a third of Blevins. Like, I feel like if it's just 1 first for half of Blevins, that's still a little bit too much to give up on our end. Like, it needs to be a third of a Blevins or a fourth of a Blevins for a first round pick. That needs to be the going rate for Keljin Blevins.
So Detroit's going to have to get involved too?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be like the most creative trade in NBA history, and that's what Blevins deserves, honestly.
So we'll get like 3 firsts and Jeremy Grant or something.
Yep. I mean, trade deadline stream tomorrow.
That's how
Tune
we get
in when
Jeremy
it goes
Grant,
down.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, so
we were worried about overpaying, but now we'll get 3 firsts from Blevins, so it'll all be good.
We're absolutely set. Shout out Chris S. $5 dono says, LeBron retiring in shame after getting dominated by Blevins. Vogel might genuinely lose his job after that. Shambles. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it, Chris. Thank you for the $5 dono.
Man, the absolute meltdown on social media by Laker fans. I'm all for it, man. It was worth winning this game just to see people like, who the F is Keljin Blevins? Like, no one's spelling his name right. And
well, they know who he is now.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever going to say his name wrong ever again.
Yeah. Those, man, Laker fans are down bad right now. I don't blame them. But, I mean, in a tanking season, this might go down as the most fun moment. So I'm just going to enjoy this night, and then we can get back to losing every game the rest of the way, right?
Yeah. I mean, we gotta trade Blevins so we can tank, right?
Yeah.
Or we gotta play him so that we can maybe win a championship this year. Like, we gotta pick a route. You know, we're at a fork in the road here. Shout out Gray Hughes Investigates. $10 dono says, Eric blew it. The Blazers did just what he said to do with Blevins, and boom. LOLOL. Awesome. I mean, you created this, Eric.
I'm sorry. But, you know what's funny? When he hit that second 3 and the Lakers called a timeout, you know it's funny because Billups was laughing. He couldn't.
Like a maniacal laugh.
he was like boom, and then he like turned around. He was like you could tell he was trying not to laugh, but he was.
That's so funny.
Awesome,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Shout out.
And I spent like the whole first half of the fourth quarter just laughing my ass off at like people like making comments about it. It was so funny. I had the like giggles and I couldn't stop, man.
This is like up there with the Clippers choking that series to Denver in the bubble, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Good old LA. LA runs the West. Shout out Jerison Poe, $5 dono, says, any takeaways for Elleby? We'll talk a little bit about Elleby in a second. Let me thank the rest of the donos.
All right. We can wait to talk about Elleby.
I want to catch him. I don't want to forget, you know. Jalil, if you're watching, I forgot one of your donos on a previous stream, so here's a shout out, and you can leave a comment and I'll read it. Just let me know. Caleb Pendergraph, $2 dono. Thank you, Caleb. Says, Blevins for Simons before he ruins the tank. That might be the move. Like, Blevins for... Like, we might have to bite the bullet. Blevins for Simons. That way we can tank. We sit out Simons for the rest of the year. We get that draft pick. And then... I still don't know if that's better than just keeping Blevins, though. I haven't really been able to... I'm so scramble-brained after his amazing performance tonight that I don't have the mental capacity right now to weigh those options. So, thank you, Caleb, for the $2 dono. Shout out Michael Baldino, $5 dono, says, LeBron too worried about that China check to be La GM this year. Seriously love to see the scrappy identity Chauncey is building here. We need that. Yeah, I mean, I love the identity of this team. This team was fun to watch tonight. Like, this team played really hard tonight, Eric. That's how you get 15 feet.
That's all we freaking wanted, right?
Mm-hmm. That's how you get 15 steals, season high. So, yeah, that's the fun part about a young team is guys play hard. For whatever reason, once you get established in the NBA, it means you play less hard. I don't know why that is, but that's been the case with a number of guys that have gone through here. So, thank you, Michael, for the $5 dono. Shout out Dominic G, $10 dono, says, Storm X now selling Blevins coins. Fractional coins available. Hashtag ad. Hashtag not an ad. YouTube, I'm not advertising anything. All right, I just got to say that. But, you know, go get your Blevins coins. Dominic G, $10 dono. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, thanks, everyone, for the donations.
Thank you. Yeah, so, Elleby is not as fun to talk about as Blevins, of course. But, Elleby.
Okay. CJ Elleby, if you could ever shoot, man, 4 for 11 again tonight, not great. But the last 2 games, this guy's averaging 9.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4 assists.
Yeah, and he had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, 11, 9, and 4 yesterday. So that's what I'm saying. 9.5, 8.5, and 4 is our averages this week. So that's really solid. I'll take that all day. Yeah, he's contributing in every way other than, like I said, shooting. And the dude plays 43 minutes tonight. That's crazy. One of the things I loved about Billups, too, is so there was a timeout, and Billups was telling CJ Elleby, if you get in a situation where LeBron's posting you up, he's not looking to be aggressive tonight. So he's going to kind of like pretend like he's going to back you down, and then he's going to turn around and shoot that fadeaway. And then like a couple plays later, he gets in a situation where he's posting him up, and CJ Elleby just stands his ground. LeBron does his turnaround. CJ Elleby puts a hand in his face. LeBron misses, and Billups was like so excited because like he did exactly what he just told him to do, and it's just awesome watching him coach the game and his young players respond to that. And that's why I don't have any problem with putting young players around Dame, because this is what happens. It's energetic, and there's an energy about it, right? When you have veterans that are kind of half-assing it out there, like some of ours were this season, it can just be like, you know, like CJ hits a 3 or Rocco hits a 3 or Norm hits a 3, and it's just like, okay, cool, you know. But like then we give it right back on defense, and we're not getting all these steals and stuff. And I don't know. I feel like Dame could be like re-energized playing in a group like this, and I don't think he's too old to play with a group like this, and I think he'll have fun. And that's why I was saying last night, like, it's to me not about making Dame happy on paper, because you could put the best you could put his dream lineup around him, but if it doesn't win, it still doesn't matter in the long scheme of things. Whereas if you put a young team around him, sure, initially he's going to be kind of skeptical about it and questioning it. But if you start to win and you have games like this and he has fun playing, and where the wins come along too, I think he'll buy in like almost immediately with that. And so that's cool to see. And yeah, I'm not afraid to go young. I actually really like that strategy around Dame, because the other strategy with vets wasn't really working that well.
Yep, agreed. Shout out to Near012, who has a $5 donut. Says people are actually cutting now, and that's, I mean, we look like an NBA team.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. And it's like last season, somebody made this point on Twitter, and I agree. I forget who though, so sorry, no shout out. But somebody made the point like last year we were so stagnant and ISO heavy that like they would watch other NBA teams and then they'd watch us and we looked like we were playing a different sport offensively. You know what I mean? And it's not like, like we still had a good offense because Dame and CJ were insane, and we had guys that could really score the ball at isolation and whatnot, but it's like we had to make a living off tough shots, and that usually doesn't hold up in the playoffs, and that's why our offense would decline, so it's a situation that I hope whatever roster we have next year is talented enough, right, individually, collectively fits, all that type of stuff, but then if, we're able to pass the ball, move the ball, cut at the right times, and manufacture easier buckets, that gives me a lot more hope for a potential playoff run. So who knows what that roster is going to look like, but we obviously need an identity change, and I think you're truly seeing that right now. We got crushed by the Magic last night, but guys are still playing hard, guys are still cutting, you're finally seeing a little bit of an imprint from Billups on this team. Billups is obviously learning things as well, and that just makes me excited for the future, just to kind of see like where we're able to bounce back to.
Yep. Josh Hart just posted a few minutes ago, Moda Center's top 5 atmospheres in the league, #Rip City.
Will you still think that after we trade him tomorrow?
I don't know.
Josh Hart was supposed to play in this game too, but unfortunately sat with rest, but it was so that we could give Blevins his chance to shine.
But dude, anyway. This team, the players that are left, they have to run, right? They need to run. And you have like Winslow, Watford, Elleby can maybe dribble the ball up the court. Like almost everyone, I feel comfortable just grabbing the ball and dribbling it up and like getting into sets fast, or just like creating stuff fast and kind of creating chaos. And I just want to watch that, like get some fast break points and move up and down. And you have all these athletic freaks on this team. Let's use that to our advantage. And let's get them used to playing that way. So next year, when they come in the game, then our second unit can maybe be like one of those like lightning units that just comes in and just runs the crap out of the other team's second unit and stuff like that. That'd be so fun to watch. And I hope we start running more. And it was cool to see Billups really encouraging that the whole game.
Yeah, agree. All right, where do you want to pivot to next in terms of talking about this game? The thing is, the plan tonight wasn't even to really talk about this game. I thought we were going to lose by double digits, and it's like, oh, well, we lost. Then I thought we were going to talk about it for like 5 minutes. I did not expect to win, so I mean, what else do you want to talk about in regards to this game?
How much trouble are the Lakers in?
Oh, dude, they... In all seriousness, like, there's no way this team is like close to contending. Mm-hmm. This team is a mess, and maybe getting a different coach if they fire Vogel might fix a couple issues, but they are so far, they're 26-30. They're 26-30, and it doesn't matter. Like, Westbrook doesn't help them. But without Westbrook, they're still not good. I mean, they lost to this Portland Trailblazers team tonight. They got blown out by the Bucks last night. Like, they're just not competitive. And it's not because LeBron James is really fallen off all that much. Tonight, 13 for 22. 30 points, 7 assists, 3 steals, 3 for 7 from 3. Right? Like, that's a good stat line. Anthony Davis is not a top 10 player anymore. He's not a top 10. Tonight, 17 points.
8 of 11.
Yeah, I mean, 8 for 11, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks. Like, yeah, that's a pretty good stat line in 41 minutes, though. Like, you have to make more of an imprint on this game against this type of team if you're Anthony Davis. And this, like, I think the injuries are starting to add up a little bit for AD, and it's not like he's had serious injuries, but he's been kind of banged up his entire career and dealt with little nagging injuries. The thing is, this year, Eric, he can't shoot anymore. Okay, a couple years ago, he was like 33% from three, and that was like good enough where you kind of had to play him out there, and then he'd drive, he'd make things happen, he'd get to his floater, he has a good floater, all right? But at this point, this year, 34 games played, he's shooting 2 threes a game. He's shooting 17.5% on those threes, okay?
Well, his other problem is he's lost a little bit of quickness off the dribble, so he can't get by anyone as easy.
Yeah, and that's the nagging injuries. So it's a lot harder. Like, he still gets 24 points per game with 10 rebounds, 3 assists, but it's like, in terms of just being a guy you give the ball to, and if I mean, I don't know what the Lakers' assist numbers are or whatever, but they look pretty stagnant. Like, they're just a team that relies on LeBron and AD to make things happen, and AD on his own isn't the same AD in terms of just like having the ball and making things happen. That's the problem there. And when he gets to the free throw line, he's shooting 72% from the free throw line for his career. He's 80%, so that's gone down the past couple years as well. So he's still a star caliber guy. It's just when you are as top heavy as the Lakers are, you need 2 like superstar caliber guys because their role players don't fit. Their role, like the rest of their team is just not good. It's just trash. Like, their third best player tonight was who? Talen Horton-Tucker, because he was 4 for 6 from 3, but on the season, Talen Horton-Tucker is shooting 25% from 3. So that's just literally a complete fluke. Like, you got Wayne Ellington, Stanley Johnson, Malik Monk tonight, 7 points in 29 minutes. Ariza, solid, like, role player, but, he's not a starter at this point, in my opinion, on a contender level team. So the rest of their team is just garbage. Their third best player doesn't fit, and their second best player isn't good enough to like carry consistently for stretches. So that's the problem they're in, and they have no assets to fix it. That's my corners report on the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't really know how I'd fix it, but I think Terry Stotts would.
Yeah, dude, because they need to ISO more. Oh, ESPN, stop playing random clips. Yeah, it's... I don't know. They're screwed because they don't have their future picks. Like, they're unprotected. LeBron, I don't know... If this continues on, like, going into next year, I feel like LeBron doesn't want to stick around. And I know it's LA and he wants to live in LA, but at what point is LeBron like, you know what, I'm getting up there in age. I want to win another championship. I don't want to keep putting up with this absolute mess of a roster. What point is LeBron going to get tired of this and maybe want out? Especially, dude, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland is so much better than the Lakers. I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, Cleveland looks legit. Is he going to want to go back there at some point? He's already won a championship with them, so maybe not. Maybe he got, what he wanted to get done there. But at some point, it's going to be a situation where LeBron falls off a little bit, or LeBron wants to leave, and then they have no picks, right? So it's I could see them going back to the way they were before they got LeBron.
Yeah.
For a while. Because they won't have the picks to fix it.
3 straight number 2 picks overall.
Yeah.
That's how bad they were. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if they don't have like multiple future firsts, even if it's the second overall pick. So it's scary
some of
for
their picks are pick swaps too.
Yeah, they owe pick swaps too. So it's a scary situation for the LA Lakers, for their fans. I'm sure their fan base will be 50% of what it is now, 3 years from now. People are maybe hopping off the bandwagon at this point. It's just, they're struggling. They're kind of screwed at this point. They have no means to fix their issue, and then if things really fall apart, they won't have draft picks. So I would, for as much as, like Portland's in a tough situation, I would rather be in our situation right now than the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least we only owe 1 future first, and that's lottery protected, so even if we're bad, for the next 6 years. We're still keep all our picks, and it turns into a second. So not that's why I don't want to change the protection on that either, just in case something happened down the road. But I could totally see LeBron bailing on the Lakers at some point. Maybe not this summer, but like this isn't what he doesn't have. I mean, I'm not going to say this like 100%, but like you got to think sometime in the next maybe 3 years, the guy's going to start to slow down a little bit, right? I know he's like superhuman, but like at some point he's going to slow down. He doesn't have many legit runs left in him at his age, so at some point he's going to question, what the heck am I doing with this sorry franchise, and want to maybe move on. That wouldn't surprise me, but does he just leave AD there, and after they gave up all that to get AD to pair with him, and then he just bails on him?
What if he does, and then I don't think AD would want to stay there either.
I could totally see LeBron doing that, though. That's the kind of thing he does, yeah. But I could see him finishing his career in Cleveland. I could see him going to, I don't know, someplace like New York or like a new challenge or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe he wants to come to Portland, Eric, so that he can, like, I don't know, the Nike connection.
On Bronny first.
I mean, that's years away. And honestly, if Bronny wasn't LeBron's son, nobody would know who he is. Like, he's not that, like, he's good for a high school player, but he's not like top 50 in his class good, in my opinion. I haven't been impressed with him, but I mean, that's another conversation. Maybe LeBron wants to come here because of the Nike connection. You know, he gets to run a portion of Nike or something, or I don't know. You know, that's his next business venture, right? They just made the LeBron building on the Nike campus in Beaverton, so maybe that's the selling point, and he can help out his buddy Dame win a ring in Portland. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, like that. Don't count on that happening. Definitely don't count on that happening. But it's going to be interesting to see how this Lakers situation plays out over the next couple of years. Shout out David Lester, $5 dono, says, heard critique that Chauncey is hard to play for, and that is why no one will want to play here. Thoughts? Doesn't seem like the guys playing for him now have a problem with playing for him. He's a coach that holds players accountable, and if players have an issue with being held accountable, then they shouldn't be on this freaking team. And it seemed like maybe we had a couple of guys that were like that, and that's where reports like that were coming from, but I think those players are gone. Like, it seemed like Norm might have had a problem with that. Do you agree with that, Eric?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but he definitely, I don't know. He wasn't the most, like, gung-ho about things teammate. I could say that, but I don't necessarily think anyone was ever a problem. It's just, I don't think some people respond well to being called out, and like you said, those aren't winning type players in my mind.
They need to stop being so soft. Yeah. That's so soft. And I don't know, like, a Norm conversation is a different conversation, but at this point, I really dislike Norman Powell. Okay, I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm not gonna get into why. I didn't like him before he got traded. All right, but I tried to because he's a Blazer. You know what I mean? I really don't like
Norm.
That guy.
You actually really liked Norm back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah. I actually was like happy when we traded for him and everything. And this is like over the year that he played here. No. I mean, that dude did not approach this season with the right mentality and the right mindset, and it was obvious on the defensive end. I couldn't stand him. Anyway, that's just a side point.
So David, thanks for the donation. I would question anyone's credibility that thinks that Chauncey would lead people to not want to play here or not want to play for him as coach, because every single person who's ever spent time with Chauncey just has glowing things to say about him and what a good person he is, how he interacts, how he teaches. NBA wise, excuse me for the one outside of basketball, maybe not everyone, but inside of basketball circles, the guy is the most respected or one of the most respected players and coaches in the league. And I think anyone who's saying that people don't like him or whatever, I think that's just made up to justify something else that's not right with someone. And I like Tori said, I don't like having, if that is someone's attitude, that's probably someone that Chauncey doesn't want on his team anyway. So, yeah, I'm all for getting guys who want to play hard and do the right things. And that's why it makes no sense to get rid of Josh Hart, because Chauncey's going to love that guy. Dame's going to like playing with him. That guy is a competitor, and he's a super smart player. And Chauncey's gonna really enjoy having him on this team, especially when we get back to being good, hopefully.
Yeah, agreed. And then shout Caleb Pendergraph, $5 donut, says, Tori, leave Melo alone. Blockboy isn't around to defend him. Where's Blockboy, man? I miss Blockboy. No, Blockboy tonight would be saying, well, they lost because Melo didn't play. If Melo played, they win by 20 or something along those lines. So, that's really why the Lakers suck, is they didn't have future Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Let me just say, Melo, like, in all honesty, has not been the problem in LA this year. He's actually been pretty decent, and you know what you're going to get from him. And I just think he's been okay. I mean, he always has bad shooting games. That's comes with the territory of Melo, but like, he's by far not one of their biggest problems.
Yeah. I mean, he's been fine this year. And he's played more to the role that he should have been playing in last year in Portland, which is more of being a spot-up three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Because he's shooting well from three, and he's shooting a higher percentage of his shots or threes, right? Yeah. Like, he's not super efficient from two, but he's been much more efficient from two this year because he's, like, shot taking better shots. Yep. Yeah, he's taken less, and he's shot better shots from two. He's shooting 50% from two. Last season for us, he shot 43% from two, so that's a big increase. So his shot selection overall this year is better, and some of that is just him embracing his role a little bit more. His true shooting percentage the past 3 years, for the 2 years he was with us, was like 52.5 and 54.7, and this year for the Lakers is 58.3. So he's been, I mean, I'll sit here and admit right now, he's been really solid for them. They definitely missed him tonight, but I mean, they shot 45% from three and 55% from the field, so it wasn't them not making shots. It was they were just discombobulated offensively all night long and had 21 turnovers, and then only got 3 offensive boards and gave up 11. That's how Portland shoots 15 more shots and 3 more free throws. That's what this game came down to. What?
Man, recognize PDX. On tonight, we're not disrespecting Keljin with a Dollar Tree nickname.
Yeah, come on. That's it?
Dollar Tree?
Oh, my goodness. You got Eric doubling over.
You can't disrespect him, man. That's hilarious, but you can't disrespect him, man.
Yeah, you got to give him more. I mean, the dude is worth more than a Dollar Tree. So that I said earlier this stream, that dude deserves a max. All right. So put some respect on his name. Recognize greatness. It's in your name. Your name is Recognize PDX. Recognize the greatness before your eyes, my guy.
It's Dame Dollar 25 tree now, right?
Huh?
They raised their prices to $1.25 or something.
Oh yeah, $1.25 tree. Yeah, where are we going with this? Anything else in this game?
Yes, we did. We have not talked about something that I know you want to talk about, and let me just get. So DJ Vega had a comment about it. I just want to. I don't know if I can go up that high to get it. But anyways, he said something about and I saw this comment a lot. So not like hating on anyone, but is Winslow possibly better than you thought, Tori? If he could just shoot the three at like 34%, he'd be a really good player. Yeah, well, that's the problem. He's not ever going to shoot that high.
Dude,
but what do you think? Is it possible that we found a $4 million rotational player for next year?
Bro, like, there's these players who I've paid attention to for years, right? Know what they've been for years, right? And he's been in the league for years. And it's like, they'll come to Portland and they'll have one good game and people are like, well, do you maybe think you're wrong on him? It's like, I've been paying attention for him for years. One game doesn't mean squat. Like, I don't understand. I'm not sitting here saying that he can't put together a good game, and he had a good game tonight. But that doesn't make him something completely different than who he's shown to be for years. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say outside of shooting, he does do a lot of good things on the floor. He's a decent defender. He's, a willing passer. I don't like that he shoots so much when he knows he can't shoot. You know what I mean? At least Dennis Smith didn't shoot, but we had a possession where it was right after we took Keljin out, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Ant, maybe, that drove into the middle of the paint. Oh no, it was Nurk on a post up. He threw up a skip cross court pass to Winslow, and he was wide open, but he didn't shoot. And then he draws the defense, and then he throws one more pass out to Dennis Smith Jr., who's standing on the 3-point line. And of course, Dennis doesn't shoot it either. And it's like, if we had anyone else other than those two in the game, we would have had a wide open three, right? So that's the only problem I have with those guys. It's like, it limits you so much on offense when you don't have a shooter. Now, if he ever could become a decent enough shooter, like, sure, I know he had 1 year in Miami where he shot like 40%, so everyone mentions that, but his shot is just broken. I don't think players like that who have been in the league that many years aren't just going to fix their jumper in one season. I would not. I would be shocked if he ever fixed his jumper or worked hard enough to fix it. So.
Justice Winslow. So here's a couple things with like fandom. When you get a new player, there's certain narratives that people come up with that it's like this player is a rookie when they're not. It's like, oh, well, we should just fix his jumper. He's been declining. His 3-point percentage has declined the last 5 years. You don't think that, like, if it was as simple as, oh, well, we can just fix his jumper, why hasn't his jumper been fixed in the past 5 years? Right? Like, why would we expect that trend to change, as if other teams didn't try working on him with his shot or whatnot?
Playing on a Miami Heat team where everyone seems to shoot well and a really good coach, but, he'll go to a different team. And
yeah, but that's the thing is, like, why do we expect to, can we just change his jump shot? We need to get this guy working with him, whatever. It's like, he's been in the league for years. Like, this isn't a rookie. This isn't a guy who's, like, maybe showing some signs of improvement. It's not like a Nas, you know what I mean? Like, Nas is kind of showing some flash, it kind of bounced, but he's still young. This guy's declined the last 5 years, and his shot is completely broken. And if he could have easily just fixed that, I'm sure he would have just fixed that, because it would have gotten him paid millions of more dollars.
With Nas, though, like, you see, like, his shot was broke too. But, like, in the course of his rookie season, you see how much time he must have put in for it to improve, right? So, like, that's my problem with, like, players like Winslow. There's those guys. There's a ton of those guys. But, like, Nas, actually, you could tell he tries to get better at threes, whereas some players, I feel like they just shoot them and they're going to make them or they're going to miss them, and they don't really care enough to put in the time to make it nice.
Yeah, it's just, he's only 25, to be honest. The Aeromancer says in chat, I don't care if he's 25 if he's gotten worse the last 4 years. You can't use his age to say he's going to get better when he was 21 and then got worse to 25. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate that. I don't like that. People say Hazonia's only 20, I don't know, how old was he when we got him? Like 23. Hazonia's only 23, and if he just gets in the right system with the right coach, and maybe we can fix his jump shot, and he could be a really good player. Mm-hmm. Like, these narratives I've heard so many times about so many players that were just not good at basketball, and proven before they got to Portland that they weren't good at basketball. Like, on the NBA level, of course Mario Hazonia is good at basketball. Every NBA player is, like, insane at basketball. It's the best players in the world. But on an NBA level, Justice Winslow is not a good player. He's, like, here's the thing, Eric, is every time Blazer fans get a new player, there's, like, a honeymoon period where they... And I mean, this is every fan base. I don't want to make it out just to be Blazer fans. This is like every fan base. This is fan bases in like all sports, right? When you get a new player, there's like a honeymoon phase. And then after that, there's a phase where it's like, oh, maybe he's not as good as we thought. Now, of course, if we went out and got, Giannis, there would be a honeymoon phase, and then after that, it would be the same freaking thing because he's that good. But with, like, role players like this, there always seems to be a honeymoon phase, and then, it's like if he was on the team from the start of the season, I feel like people wouldn't be talking as highly about him right now.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is if we did have a movement offense with a ton of cutters, I mean, this is the same thing that we said all year with Nurk and Nance and Zeller and players like that. It does help to have multiple guys who can handle the ball and pass. If you have the right system, you can kind of utilize that. But unfortunately, playing with Nurk, playing with like tonight, CJ Elleby, who can't seem to hit shots very much right now. Like the spacing is just kind of off, like I said, with Dennis Smith Jr., who doesn't shoot either. So maybe if you had a second unit with shooters and stuff like that, you could do some things with him. I wouldn't like rely on him as being a rotational piece, but I don't think it's like the worst thing if he's like on your bench either next year or like
if he's like an 11th or a 12th man, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
but like some people have legitimately said they think he should be in the rotation because of what they've watched from him over 2 games. I
mean, this is a guy, like, quite frankly, was almost out of the league the last couple of years, so...
Yes.
It's kind of like Stanley Johnson. That was a good comparison tonight because Stanley Johnson's had kind of a similar career. He was good at first, and then he sucked, and then he went to Toronto for a year and magically became this, like, awesome defender, but then Toronto doesn't re-sign him, even though he had a really good season for them. And then all of a sudden he's bouncing around signing 10-day contracts and stuff. And so hopefully Winslow can stick on with the team. Like, I mean, for $4 million, sure. But the problem is if we're chasing as much cap space as possible, even that $4 million is kind of questionable whether we can keep him on the team. So I don't know.
You know who this reminds me of? Shout out to Aeromancer. This reminds me of like what people said about Rondae Hollis Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he?
I mean, he's better than Rondae Hollis Jefferson in my mind, but
they're kind of similar players, though.
But it's like Rondae Hollis Jefferson is another great example of that, and that's same thing. He goes to Toronto, has a good year defensively, and then like you think he's going to get maybe picked up by someone, and he hasn't really stuck around since. So. Yeah, I mean, those kind of guys, that's the problem. Even at $4 million, you could say, oh, that's a good deal, right? But Stanley Johnson, Rondae Hollis Jefferson, like those kind of guys you could have found for the minimum this year. And so, I mean, like you could still sign those guys for the minimum, right? So it's not necessarily a case where like Winslow sucks, he shouldn't be on our team, but I just don't think it's like a bargain just because he's $4 million, because you can always find guys like that for cheap in free agency, and that's not a problem getting those type of guys. We just need someone who can do that and shoot somehow, and so we need like a higher ceiling guy than that. But like I said, I don't have a problem with him on the team. I think you can do a lot of nice things around him if he becomes a slasher and the guys around him are cutting.
Yep. So, question. If he's, like, as good as some people think he is, why was the Clippers barely playing him when they were, like, decimated all season long and playing, like, everyone? Right? Why were they only playing him 13 minutes a game? That's my question to anybody who thinks he's good, based off 1 or 2 games here.
So, Beer says the Lakers would love to have him with their trash defense, but that's what I'm saying. But they picked up Stanley Johnson. So they already have that guy. I mean, they already have a guy who can't shoot and who's a good slasher and plays defense. Like, so that's and if they Rondae Hollis Jefferson is still a free agent out there. There's guys like that, and Lakers need someone who can do that and shoot, and that's the problem. Like, those guys, you can have one or two of them on a team, that's fine, but you can't have, I don't know, that it's kind of duplicate to Stanley Johnson, in my opinion.
Yep. Here's the final point I'll make about this. Would he play for any team that's contending right now in the league? If that team was fully healthy? No. So if we're thinking about being contenders next year, we have so far to go. Like, I don't think it's necessarily realistic. But if that's our goal, then we shouldn't plan on putting Justice Winslow in our rotation next year. It's fine as like 11th guy, 12th guy, maybe 10th guy, I don't know. But he shouldn't be a situation where it's like, okay, yeah, we plan on him being in the rotation if we're fully healthy next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I sit on that. Anyway, so let's do a Twitter space for like 20 or 30 minutes if you're ready for that, because we gotta get moving if we're gonna
setting that up. Chris says the guy is pointing out that he had hip replacement. He actually corrected that when he got here in Portland. He was asked about his hip replacement, and he actually corrected everyone and said he did not have hip surgery. He just rested it, and it got better with rest. But yeah, that was some time ago, and he's supposedly fully recovered from that. But yeah, he did not have hip replacement, so that's not the case.
Yep. All right, so I made the Twitter space. Zach, if you're here, just join it on the Blazers Uprise account so people can join it just by going to that page. I will share the link in the chat. There it is. Just posted it. Eric, I'll put it in the mod chat for Discord as well. And call into the show. We only got like 25, 30 minutes. I got to finish up some things for the trade deadline stream tomorrow. We're going to be streaming live for the trade deadline. I have a unique graphics package for that. So hopefully you can tune in. We're going to be going live in the morning, maybe like 10 hours from now, Eric, which is kind of crazy. So lots of streaming the past week. We're going to have a trade deadline stream tomorrow. Hopefully you can come and join us for that. That'll be right here on this main channel. We'll have Woj and Sham's Twitter feeds updating live on the screen. So you don't have to go to Twitter and refresh or wait on a Twitter notification or whatever. You can literally just go to our stream and it'll update live and you can react to it live in chat. It's always a really good time. It's always a lot of fun. So hopefully you can make it for that. All right. Eric, I'm going to mute myself on Skype, unmute myself in the space. What's up, Eric?
I can't get through it unless it's a link on Twitter, so I'll have to find it another way.
Okay, I can share with the tweet. There, I tweeted it. We'll get Eric in here. We'll talk to Brady. We'll talk to King and Randy. Just let me get Eric in here first. And then we'll get things rolling. Still waiting on Eric. Did you get it, Eric? Oh, yeah, you're in here. Okay, cool. All right. Co-host, Eric. All right, cool. You're in here, Eric. We're good to go?
Yes.
All right. Let me... I want to stay on the main page. I think it looks a little better. Anyway, never mind. Cool. All right, so we'll talk to Brady, then we'll talk King Kuda. Your speaker invite disappeared. I don't know if you meant for it to disappear, but right now we got Brady, Randy, depressed Blazer fan, and Jared. We'll start off with Brady. What's going on? My guy Brady. What's up, man?
Dude, what a night, man.
Phenomenal night, huh?
What a night. It's 5 to take for one night just to beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, long term, this was not... like, we don't want the Pelicans to pass the Lakers, and we want to take ourselves, so it's kind of like a double whammy there, beating the Lakers, but, I mean, it's the Lakers, and they're trash right now, so, that's a lot of fun.
Pelicans are playing Miami tomorrow, though, so...
Yeah, hopefully Miami can take care of business. Anyway, what you got? What you got for us, man?
Just do you think that was Nurkic's last game with Portland? What do you think tomorrow's going to be like? Like, I don't know. Going on.
What odds would you put on that? What, Eric? Let me rephrase that. What are the odds Nurkic gets traded tomorrow? What do you think, Eric?
I think it's about as 50-50 as you can get. I don't know, man.
So my trade deadline prediction is if they're chasing cap space, Eric, they trade Nurkic and Josh Hart to the Raptors for Goran Dragic and Toronto's first-round pick, right? And I've said if they're chasing cap space, they can't keep Nurkic, and it's going to be really hard to keep Hart, as well as have the cap space necessary for Ben Simmons in order to trade for him and bring him into that cap space. So you want to get value for them instead of letting Nurkic walk and cutting Hart with his non-guaranteed contract next year. So my prediction is they either do that, they can absorb Goran Dragic into the $20.8 million TPE they got from CJ McCollum, or they use that TPE as well as like a first-round pick, maybe the Pelicans first, as well as like Keon Johnson to the Pistons for Jeremy Grant. I think it will be one of those two trades. Could be completely wrong, but that is my prediction right now, so I would also agree 50-50. What are you feeling, Brady? What does your gut say?
I don't know what you would do with Goran Dragic, though. Just another guard? Like,
It's just an expiring contract.
It's just an expiring. I mean, we'd want cap space if that's the plan.
Here's the deal. Anyone who, I mean, unless we get a star player, like Jeremy Grant, like I'm not saying Jeremy Grant's a star, but like unless we get a player like that, right?
Yeah.
It literally does not matter in terms of basketball-wise what player we get. You want to look at the contracts. So if it's an expiring contract, that is the sole reason we trade for anyone tomorrow. It's just like Ingles today, right? So don't even look at, oh, how does Dragic fit? He's another point guard. Like, it's an expiring contract. We get money, and we get a first-round pick for taking it. So that's all you worry about. Like, you don't worry about anything else or like how he fits on the team because he'll never play a game in the Blazers uniform.
Yeah, I think it was Nurk's last game. I think it's it's like 65 to 70%.
See, probably. Like the thing is like resting Hart. Like it was like Hart's not on the injury report. He might play, and then they rest him, and he did fly from New Orleans up to here, so maybe that was the reason. But it does kind of seem slightly fishy. So. Yeah. I don't know. The only way I think they trade Hart is if they're chasing cap space and want to get value back for him because he's on a good contract. You don't want to cut him in the offseason for nothing and get nothing back, right? And you can still trade him in the offseason, but Toronto is a team where Nurkic would make sense. I think that would be the most likely team to trade for him. They want a big man, supposedly. So go ahead, Eric.
We have a lot of people who don't normally know our takes, so they might be thinking this is what we want. Let me just clarify for everyone watching or listening. We do not want Jeremy Grant unless we maybe get him for Keon Johnson as an asset or something and don't really have to give up much to get him maybe then. And we do not want to trade Josh Hart. We both think he's a good rotational piece moving forward. We are just predicting what we think this crazy front office will do. It seems like they don't want to keep Hart long-term because of this contract situation we can get out of it this summer. So we're just predicting that if we are going to somehow opt out of his contract this summer because there is an opt-out, that we at least get something back and not just waive him for nothing so that we at least get another first-round pick out of the CJ trade or whatever. But we don't want to trade Nurk and Hart for a first-round pick, basically. We don't want to trade that Pelicans pick for Jeremy Grant. So those aren't things we want.
Well, let me kind of reword that. If they are intent on chasing cap space to try and trade for Ben Simmons into that cap space, then I would want a trade like that because I'm worried that they would just let Nurkic walk and cut Hart.
Right.
So if that's what they really want to do, I hope they can get some value back. But I don't think like that is such a people act like that's a much simpler idea than it is. On Blazers Uprise Live earlier today, that's our second channel, we had a stream and we kind of walked through some of the numbers and the finances behind not only Portland's end of how do they clear enough cap space in order to bring Ben Simmons into their cap space, and who would they have to give up? They'd probably have to give up both Hart and Nurkic. But also, like, there's a lot of things that need to happen on Philadelphia's end. with Tobias Harris getting traded and them shedding $20 million in that sort of trade, because just getting rid of Ben Simmons and Danny Green's a non-guaranteed only gets them $20 million of cap space, and James Harden's going to be like a $42 million contract next year. So there's just so many steps to the Ben Simmons plan that personally I would rather just go in a different direction. So therefore, like, if I was running things, I would probably keep Hart and Nurkic and try and work a different route.
Yeah. It just seems like an end of an era tomorrow. Like, already is with CJ
It
gone.
already is CJ,
Yeah.
It's weird, man. It's weird. It's definitely weird. Anyway, anything else you got, Brady?
No, I'm just going to remember the Keljin Blevins game against the Lakers.
Oh, forever.
No matter what.
Forever, dude. I'm never going to forget
The
this
memes
night.
alone.
What a glorious night. Anyway, thank you, Brady, for calling in, man.
I'll go back to listening. See you guys.
See you, man.
Have a good night.
All right, so we got Randy up next. What's going on? Randy, you're now live on the Blazers Uprise post-game show.
Hey, Randy.
Hello.
What's up, man?
What's up? My question is about the Pelicans pick. Let's say hypothetically they make it into the play-in, but then they lose and they're out of playoffs, right? So let's say that like they get the 14th pick. Would it be better for us to keep that pick, or maybe trade it to Chicago and get our first pick back? So then we're able to like get our future first picks and able to trade it around, if you know what I'm saying.
That's a good question. Go ahead.
Well, for one, I think if it conveys this year, I think it is good, because I don't know if anyone saw the protections on it. We talked about, or we didn't talk about this earlier, actually. So that turns into the Milwaukee Bucks 2025 first round pick.
Does
if
it?
Doesn't, yes.
I didn't see that.
And it's protected top 4. So even if they somehow, like, Giannis was hurt and they sucked that year or whatever, we wouldn't get it if they fell into the top 4. And if it doesn't convey that year, it turns into 1 second or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a 1-year thing for both protections. So that Milwaukee pick, I mean, 3 years from now, a lot could change, but Milwaukee's most likely still going to have Giannis and be good. So we're talking about a pick in the 20s if that doesn't convey. So if we get as high as 14, I'd be happy, even if that would kind of suck, but at least we would get 2 first-round picks in the lottery this year. And I think there's a lot more we can do with it than just trade it to Chicago. And with Chicago, the protections are in a way where if we really needed to, we could flip them a future second and just change the protections a little bit to maybe be less years or something and convey to seconds faster than 6 years or something like that. But yeah, I'd be kind of scared with what they do with unlimited picks in the future of our own, and maybe trade like a 3 first for a Jeremy Grant or something, like just something dumb that would completely ruin our future if Dame ever left, and I don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, well said.
Yep. That's all I got, actually. But definitely agree with Tori. Hopefully we keep Josh Hart and Nurkic, unless we do trade Nurkic and then he's able to come back after free agency, just to get a little bit of something.
That would be the master plan. Trade Nurkic, get value, sign him back.
Yep. And yeah, that's about it.
Anyway, all right, man. Thank you for calling.
Have a good night, Randy.
Appreciate you guys.
See you, man.
Have a good one.
All right, next up we got Jared.
Oh, and anyone who's listening to our space but hasn't been watching our stream, tomorrow around 8 a.m. we are going live, unless there's a big Blazer trade before that, and
Please no.
we will be from 8 a.m. till we usually go to half an hour to an hour after the trade deadline, because trades filter in. So about 5 hours live with us talking about every single thing that happens in the NBA tomorrow.
Yep, so definitely tune in for that. Anyway, Jared, you're now live on the Blazers Uprise post-game show. What you got, man?
All right. Y'all got me?
Yep.
All right. So this free agency with Ant being a restricted free agent, what do you guys think his ballpark salary would be? Are we talking similar to Gary Trent's, or are we going to be talking actually maybe a little more?
I think a little more. $20 million is kind of the estimate for me right now. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, obviously, if he averages 25 and 6 or something the rest of the season, we're maybe going to creep up to the 25 million. There might even be a team that goes crazy. The fortunate thing for us is right now, not many of the teams that project to have cap space are really. I can't see like Orlando, for example, giving him a max contract offer or something because they already have five guards, right? So I don't really see a lot of teams being huge players for Ant that have the cap space, so that might help us out a little bit. But yeah, I would definitely say at this point, if we could get him for 18 million, that would be a steal, like the Gary Trent contract. So I'd be looking more in the 20 to 25 range, especially since we traded CJ and Norm, so we're definitely committing to him as our shooting guard of the future. I think we have to basically make sure he's taken care of then and gets locked in at a good, reasonable rate. But the thing is, people always say, like, well, what's the difference between Dame and CJ and Dame and Ant? Like, how is that going to be any different? Well, if we get him locked in at 4 years, 20 million, that's 10 million less than we've been paying for CJ. So that's going to be a value contract compared to that, and maybe you can do something with the lower overall salary, or you're not fighting the luxury tax every year because you have him just as good a player at 10 million less.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it also leads me to another question. So on the inverse effect, are there any restricted guys that we should potentially go after?
The problem is going after restricted guys would mean that we'd have to clear the cap space for them. So if you're talking about somebody in, like, trying to offer somebody 20 million, then it's more feasible to keep Nurkic or, resign Nurkic and keep Hart. So it's a situation where maybe that's the route they go, but I mean, to use cap space, you have to give up all your TPEs, and then it's a situation where I think, don't you have to clear the cap space to even sign them to the offer sheet, Eric?
Yeah, you can't sign it before the offer sheet.
Yeah, so we'd have to renounce and give up all our traded player exceptions just to give them the offer sheet, and then it's likely that anybody we'd be interested in would then match, and then we wouldn't have any traded player exceptions and nothing to show for it. So that's extremely risky. It's almost more likely that, I think the better route is if you want somebody who's a free agent, who's a restricted free agent, so a team can match their salary, maybe you try and go the sign and trade route and use our $20.8 million traded player exception to absorb a player via sign and trade. That's not likely that we are able to do that, but I think that's maybe a more feasible route and something that wouldn't end up with us giving up our traded player exceptions and trying to clear the cap space in the first place. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I agree with that. It kind of depends on who it is. Like, obviously, Ayton, you're going to have to offer a max to, right? So, in order to get Phoenix.
Easily.
And even with a max, you don't know if Phoenix would match that or not. So, it's kind of risky to do that. So I don't know. The restricted free agents scare me. I mean, maybe someone like Mo Bamba. What you want to look for is, because some of those guys that were high picks have a pretty high qualifying offer. So, if Orlando is not going to re-sign a Mo Bamba, they might not even offer him a qualifying offer. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. Or maybe they offer him the qualifying offer, but you don't have to overpay to get someone like that. But like Tori said, overpaying for a free agent like DeAndre Ayton, is Ayton on a max worth twice as much as we could get Nurk for and just keep Nurk? I don't think he's that good. I mean, he's good. He would definitely make our team better, but I don't think he's double Nurk good, So I would be very careful about going too hard on restricted free agents, unless it's if you had a chance to get a Miles Bridges or something and you knew Charlotte wasn't going to match or something, then maybe. But I don't think the restricted free agents are a very good option.
Yeah, I was thinking either Bridges or Bamba, to be honest. Bamba being obviously the more realistic option.
Yeah, Bridges is the only one that has really piqued my interest. I'd love to get him if there's a way to go out and get him. I just don't think it's really that feasible. So anyway, anything else you got, man?
So we have what, 2-3 second-round picks, right?
We have 2 right now. We've got the Memphis 2022 pick, which is currently what'd you say, 56th or something? Because there's 2
Okay.
teams that have it. So we have like the 38th or 39th pick and the 56th pick right now, I think, in the second round.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking like there would be a chance maybe we could package those picks, since our pick is going to convey to us on the Bulls one, and I was thinking maybe we could somehow slide into the late first or early second next year.
Well, here's the problem with that. If they're trying to maximize cap space, having as many second-round picks is good. One, they actually truly sign, like if you sign with someone for $900,000 or whatever, that's their actual count against the cap. And 2,
true.
Those guys don't have a cap hold on there, so you can draft as many second-round guys. You can maybe even use them as 2-ways if you need the roster spots. But a first-round pick, even if it's like $2 million, still counts against your cap stuff. So they're trying to maximize cap space. I find it hard to believe they do that. And I don't know how many teams would be willing to move down too far from the late first to early second. But maybe there's some teams that are trying to get that guaranteed thing, the opposite of what we're doing. I guess it's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, so also, isn't there a point where second rounders kind of get into the non-guaranteed territory, like towards late end of the draft, because, or is that mainly on the options?
All second rounders are the same in terms of what you can offer them and how you can offer them contracts and stuff. So it doesn't matter if you're the 31st pick or the 60th pick, you can offer the same amount of money.
Okay.
And so that doesn't matter. It's just more, the later you go, the less likely you get someone who sticks around on your team is the only problem. But now with 2-ways, almost all of them at least make a 2-way contract on a team or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I got here.
All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for calling in. Good to talk to you, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
See you. All right. So next up, depressed Blazer fan. What's going on, man? How you doing? You're now live.
What's up, man?
And he's now gone. And he's now here. Okay, what's up?
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, so what do you think about trading Nurkic and Ben McLemore for Precious and a first rounder?
Okay, first off, turn off the background, whatever you're playing. If you're playing this radio, or I don't know. Just there's an echo. So Nurkic, what was it, Eric? Nurkic and who?
McLemore for Precious. That doesn't come close to match. Toronto would have to include more salary.
Oh, and the point guard.
Oh, Dragic.
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough salary for us going out.
Well, we could use the TPE to absorb Dragic.
True.
I saw it on Danny Morgan Twitter.
Margaret? Okay, just as long as the last name is anything but,
No, it is. No. He's just mispronouncing it.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather roll with Nurk than Precious. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Precious is... Yeah.
He's okay. He's undersized for a center. He's a good defender, but doesn't offer much at this point offensively.
Is that his idea to play Precious at center? It's people will complain about us being too undersized, right? 6'3" guards are so undersized, but then when it comes to a center, it's like they're fine with a 6'8" center. You know what I mean? Just because the center is not 6'3", it seems like. So, Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't see. It just doesn't really help us get better next year or the year after, and it doesn't really set up an obvious follow-up move where it would make us better either. So I just don't really see the logic behind that type of move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering. I didn't know because it's just a young asset, and he's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all. Just that question.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if Nurkic doesn't want to come back, then you need to get some value for him, or if you're chasing cap space, that makes more sense. I assume that's why the idea happened in the first place. Is like Precious is a young, cheap big man, and then the first round pick is an asset that you can use, and that helps you save money to go after Ben Simmons with the cap space. I'm like 90% sure that's why he came up with that trade idea. And I'm sitting here predicting Josh Hart and Nurkic for Dragic and Toronto first, and I wouldn't do that either. But yeah, that's the thing is like that type of trade is fine if you can pull off the Simmons thing, but terrible, not terrible, but bad if you can't pull off the Simmons thing. So that's the thing is every move that teams make, especially the Blazers at the deadline, is how good that move is dependent upon the other moves that are attached to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally understand.
So, anyway, anything else? Either?
Oh no, that's it. That was it.
All right, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night, man.
You too.
Cool. All right, Brady Johnson, you're now up next on the Blazers Uprise post-game show. What you got for us, man?
What's up, Brady?
Hit that red. There you go. Perfect.
What's up?
Not much,
Hey,
man.
man.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just wondering, what do you guys think about Greg Brown? Do you guys think he could pan out in the future for us?
I mean, he definitely could. He's just raw, and he's shown some good things. It's nice to see him hit a 3 tonight. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 5 for 6 last game, so 9 out of his last 10 from the free throw line after being terrible from the free throw line. So I think he's finally starting to settle in and get confident and get comfortable playing NBA basketball. And it's kind of hard to judge a player before they get truly settled in, especially if they're just kind of raw offensively. So I like what I've seen of him over the past couple of games. Still definitely has a lot of work to do, but he's still young at 19. He's just one of those guys that on draft night I said, he has a high ceiling, but that ceiling is really far away from where he's at now. So he could be a guy that doesn't pan out at all, or he could be a guy that ends up being really good. I have no idea, and I'm still kind of in that boat. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, it's nice to hear Chauncey mention him specifically, how hard he's been working in an interview today. So really like that he's Chauncey said he's done all the right things since he's been here. So yeah, it's just I think he needs reps, and that's why this mini tank for one season is really good. I think if he gets a lot of minutes, his confidence is going to get better. One thing I really like about him, Tori mentioned that he's kind of questionable at shooting free throws, but this guy can get to the line, and when you can jump that high, if you attack the rim, that's the same thing I've been saying with Ant on his drives, right? If you just go and try to pack it on people, they're going to either have to foul you or they're going to get out of the way once you start dunking on them. So I think between his cuts and his ability to draw contact by trying to throw down on people, I think those are some useful skills that he's going to be able to generate. You see a lot of good scorers that don't necessarily have the game yet, but you get to the line a lot early in your career, and all of a sudden you're getting those points per game, and then you're getting minutes because you're contributing and you're efficient if you're hitting those free throws. So I really like that aspect of his game. I feel like his defense has been pretty good. I mean, he's still a little lost in some aspects, but I mean, that's normal for a rookie. So I feel like he's really showing a lot of knowledge and he's learned a lot since the beginning of the season. Even in garbage time, you could tell he just wasn't ready to play at certain points in the season. So I like that now you can actually say, hey man, he's looking like he's actually learning and becoming a decent player, and that's all you can ask from a raw rookie, like Tori said. And so you just hope that growth keeps continuing because he has the athleticism, the body frame, and the quickness to eventually be kind of a harassing perimeter defender who can also have some secondary rim protection. And then on offense, like I said, if he's cutting and getting to the free throw line and can just knock down the three at a reasonable clip, then you really have something there. And I think he does have all the tools to make that happen. It's just going to be whether his mental development gets there.
Yep. Well said. Anything else you got, Brady?
Nope. Thanks for having me.
Have a good night, Brady.
Yep. Thank you for calling in, man. All right. So that's going to conclude our space. I'm going to... Did Zach start to talk there, Eric, right when I ended the space? I thought I heard something from Zach. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, Zach just commented. So we have one question to take from a dono. Shout out M. Alam, $5 dono, says, joining in from New York, stayed up late to enjoy this win with you guys. How do you feel about Ant's defense next to Dame for the future? I think Ant's is quicker laterally than CJ was. Obviously, like, the size is kind of the same, but I think a big part of CJ's problem wasn't really size related. It was just he fell asleep off the ball too much. And then he maybe, I wouldn't say he was slow laterally, but he maybe wasn't the quickest. So if Ant can just be better off the ball and more engaged, and then use his lateral quickness to stay in front of guys a little bit more, and he's already better at getting through screens than CJ, then the defense will be better with him next to Dame. How good can the defense be? That depends on who they surround with them, but I think that defensively there's more hope with that Dame-Ant backcourt than there was with the Dame-CJ backcourt. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I agree with that. The other thing I'll mention is this is going to solely come down, in my opinion, to how well Ant can navigate screens, because that's something that Dame and CJ always struggled with, or it got to the point where they couldn't do it well enough to where we just had to switch screens automatically because of those guys. So if Ant can get through screens, or we can play some sort of 2-3 zone more often to where we don't have to worry about screens as much, then I think you can do things to counteract that. I also think that some part of our plan, if there is a plan, should be to recognize where the Dame CJ backcourt went wrong in terms of what players you try to fit around them and get players that will actually work. And you need long, quick, athletic wings and forwards in a front court that's well-rounded and good defensively, and it would help if they could shoot the three and or have some sort of useful skill on offense, so we're a complete liability on that end. So that's why you have to find the best possible 3-and-D guys, and why some of the guys in the draft like a Chet Holmgren or a Jabari Smith are so intriguing, because I don't think those guys, Dame, CJ, or Ant, have ever played with a guy quite like the skill set of those two. So I just think you have to find the right mix of players around them, and hopefully they've learned what that isn't the last few years.
Yep. So Zach said, I can't request to talk when I'm co-host. You got to give me a chance to see if I want to talk or not. Yeah, if you want to ask your question here, we'll answer it. I know what Zach wanted. I'll say it for you. Keljin Blevins the GOAT, man. He's better than Dame. That's Zach. Sorry to ruin your vibe there, Zach. But yeah, I said before the stream, like an hour to an hour and a half stream, and we're already at an hour and a half. So I got to finish up graphics for tomorrow. I haven't been able to get together with Krish, and I got to run Krish through what we're doing, because he's helping me with graphics tomorrow, and this is a unique graphics package, so something that we haven't done before. So right after this, I'm hopping into a voice chat with Krish and kind of showing him what we're doing as far as graphics tomorrow. And I'm finishing up some of the things for that. So anyway, if you go ahead and say whatever you're going to say here, Zach, and we'll read it off. And then we'll end the stream. A little shorter tonight, because we're going live in 9 hours, Eric. 9 hours. I slept in today just so I wouldn't have to sleep as much tonight.
M. Along, we did answer that question right before the Twitter space if you want to go back and listen to that about Justice Winslow. And Zach, this is a great question to end things with. What are your best and worst case scenarios for tomorrow?
What's your best case scenario, Eric?
Best case scenario to me is, I mean, this is going to sound silly, dumping Bledsoe's contract for an expiring. I don't even care about picks or whatever, as long as it's an expiring contract that with no dead money. I think that's a win. If you see a trade like that, something like Bledsoe to Minnesota for Taurean Prince. I know it doesn't quite work salary-wise, but like something along those lines. And then, I mean, if Keon Johnson really has first-round value, I'm not that tied to him moving forward. So, like, if you get value for a Keon Johnson or a Elijah Hughes, if those aren't, if you're really chasing salary cap space, you might as well get something for those guys if you're planning on just letting them go or trading them in the offseason anyway. So maybe you do something with them similar to the trade today and pick up a couple more second-round picks or something, or maybe you get even more value for Keon. So I would just look at little things like that. I would be very disappointed unless we get someone really good. I'd be very disappointed if we use the Pelicans pick, or we somehow get more of our own future picks to trade. I think that's the worst case scenario if we get a future first of our own back and trade it for Jeremy Grant.
Yeah. Okay, so my best case scenario. Let me just throw this up here. Let me just show you with the trade machine. This isn't realistic, but since we're talking best case scenario, I should put Portland on the left. And then OKC on the right. Best case scenario would be like Favors and Kenrich Williams for Bledsoe, with us giving up our early second this year. And that would basically be them just wanting off Derek Favors. The thing is they'd have to buy out Bledsoe, and that'd be like $4 million that they owe him next season, so they only save $6 million. And they want a first-round pick for Kenrich Williams, but maybe like an early second instead of a first-round pick, and then saving $6 million is enough. I don't think it's enough for OKC, but since we're talking best-case scenario, something like this would be the deal. This would work, by the way. This is Fanspo's glitching out. And then we would also get a... Oh, no, we wouldn't, because we don't have a... I thought we got a $10 million TP from... Oh, no, that's from CJ. Never mind. This would create about a $9 million TP, a little bit less than $9 million, like an $8.4 million TP for us as well. So that would be best case scenario. Another best case scenario would be, if we really want Jeremy Grant, we get him for Keon Johnson and then like our early second and then maybe a future second. They supposedly want 2 first-round picks for him, but I don't know, maybe they really like Keon Johnson. He's worth like a first and a half, and then the second-round picks make up the difference. I don't think that's the case at all, but best case Jeremy Grant scenario would be like Keon Johnson in a couple of seconds for Jeremy Grant. Worst case scenario would be, honestly, like, I could see us doing this. Nurkic and Hart to Toronto for Dragic in a second. There's no way, if we're trading Nurkic and Hart for Dragic, there's no way we shouldn't get a first. So, like, worst case scenario would be doing that and just settling for a second. Mm-hmm. Or, like, yeah. Just like chasing cap space and, since we don't want him anyway, we'll just take a second back so we get something. But it's nowhere near as much as we should get. Anyway.
My absolute best case would be that same Toronto Raptors team. I mean, they're not going to trade him, most likely. But if they did decide to move on from one of their forwards and we somehow got OG tomorrow, I would be doing backflips because I think that's the best possible small forward we could fit next to Dame and CJ or Dame and Ant. I keep saying CJ. It's just such a reflex to say Dame and CJ, right?
I know.
It's going to be so long before I stop saying that, right?
I know. I feel it. So this would work. So like something like this, like New Orleans first in Nurkic. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. I mean, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would give up the New Orleans first in that trade.
Would you also give up Hart in this trade?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I would hope we wouldn't have to give up the New Orleans first if we gave up Hart too, but yeah.
They would have to add in another contract, so like I don't know. Kem Birch,
no,
right?
we could take Dragic into the. It could be Nurkic and Hart for OG and Dragic.
Yeah, or you can take back Kem Birch and fit him into the Covington TPE.
We can't trade our first protected, even if it's protected. So
yeah,
we don't have to worry about that, thankfully.
Yeah,
but I am worried that, like I said, somehow we're going to open up that pick from Chicago and then do something really stupid.
Yeah, that would be worst case scenario, is like opening up that pick from Chicago, and so that we can trade that. Yeah, I'll show that in a second.
Great point by Joey in chat, real quick. There is still a CJ on the team, so I was just talking about CJ Elleby, not CJ McCollum.
Yeah, true. But like, so this trade, Eric, fit OG into the CJ TPE, fit Kem Birch into the Rocco TPE, and then we get two $12 million TPEs for Hart and Nurkic. Or you could word it like Hart matches OG, you fit Kem Birch into the TPE, and then we get a $12 million... No, that's the better way. Yeah, that's the better way.
We get a 12 million and keep our 20.8.
Yes.
This would be ideal, yeah.
Yeah, if we're gonna trade this pick, Hart matches OG, Kem Birch to count for with Rocco TPE, so then we get a TP for Nurkic, $12 million TP, and we still have our $20.8 million TP from CJ. So we would have a 20 and a 20.8 and a $12 million TP. That would be ideal. Worst case scenario would be like, this is actually the worst case scenario. It depends on what the protections would be, but like if we do this, like Keon Johnson, and then like reword the protections on. Oh, I didn't give Grant. And then reword the protections on our protections for future first, and do like this. Yeah. This trade would work, by the way. Don't Fanspo's glitching. This would be worst case scenario. We like lower the protections on our future first somehow. Like maybe it's unprotected next year, and then we trade like a 2025 first that's lowly protected, as well as the Pelicans pick, as well as like Keon Johnson. Mm-hmm. That would be an F grade trade. Would be something like this.
Oh wow, great point, EG.
What?
He said the Raps ain't trading OG. Like, I didn't just say they're not going to trade him, but that's best case scenario. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. See, like, people ask best case scenario, and the best case scenario isn't going to be realistic, because it's the best case scenario. The best case we can conceivably come up with, right? So, like, I don't think the Raptors trade Nurkic, or I don't think the Raptors trade OG, but if they wanted to trade OG, getting Josh Hart, Yusuf Nurkic, they need a big man, and a potential 10th overall pick for OG would be a good return for him. Mm-hmm. It's not like that trade would fleece them. I just don't think they trade him. But if they look to trade him, I think that would be a good package.
And basically, anyone making over like $25 million is pretty much impossible to get tomorrow. So, like, unless we're trading Dame. So, unless you want to trade Dame for Russell Westbrook, that worst case scenario you have, EG, is not even possible because we can't combine Nurk and Hart's contract the way Torrey had it set up. We could trade them separately, as it's like broken up into two trades to Toronto. But nope, can't do Pascal unless we're trading Dame for him. So no Pascal tomorrow. No one that makes that much money.
Yep, exactly. Anybody over 30 million is off the table. And anybody like 25 to 30 million, I think it'd be almost impossible unless we traded like everybody that we had on the team to start the season. So, anyway,
Daddy asked, "Is there anyone dumb enough to pay Westbrook that much money?" I mean, if I'm Houston, and you got a first for trading Westbrook with the Washington Wizards, right?
Yeah.
And then for John Wall. And then you could trade John Wall for Russell Westbrook back and get another first. I mean, Westbrook has the same exact contract pretty much as John Wall, so I would do that. And you basically get another first you're not playing John Wall anyway, so you could do the same thing with Westbrook and just not play him.
We can preview all this tomorrow.
Yeah.
At 8 a.m. because there will be a lot of dead time to talk about this sort of stuff in between trades. So
and we'll do like 50 tankathons tomorrow.
Yeah, and if we have, downtime, we'll do 50 tankathons. Yeah, we'll have a lot of time tomorrow to discuss this stuff. But I got to wrap up the stream because I got to finish things up and I got to talk with Chris. So the Blazers,
thank you, everyone.
The Blazers beat the Lakers tonight somehow. I don't know how. The Lakers are in shambles. This was hilarious. Twitter has been on fire, and the Blazers hold off on the tank for a day. Anyway, thank you for tuning in for this post-game show. It's been a poppin' post-game show. We'll have trade deadline stream going live in about 9 hours, all right? So definitely tune in tomorrow morning for our trade deadline stream. We're going to cover every trade, break down every trade, talk about every rumor, have Twitter feeds live on the stream. So let's see if we can, maybe break some stream records, or it's going to be a really good and enjoyable stream. So hopefully you guys can make it. If not, hope life is good. We will catch you some other time then. Anyway, until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.